Actually, that's a funny story. I not only I refused that, but I got properly angry, and I rarely get angry, like for in front of like a client. But I mean, I got so angry because he mentioned that he hired a photographer to do photography for him, and he didn't pay the photographer either. And I'm like, so you hired a photographer before? How much did you pay him? And he was like, I didn't pay him. So I'm like, all right. All right. Welcome back to Sharing Mileage. And this time we're going to talk about money. Billy asked me about money today in terms of what a creative person, a creative business owner, a freelancer is going through when they have to take care of themselves in terms of financial commitments, bills, struggles, anxieties, and things like that. So that's what we're going to talk about. And maybe I'm going to start from telling you that I was absolutely terrified that I won't be able to support myself doing the creative work, that I won't be able to support myself, um, working as a videographer. And this is not uncommon.
Yeah.
My dad, who used to be an artist, didn't really have consistent income doing what he loved. And learning about others who are in this line of work, you find out that every single one of them struggled. So it is scary to make the jump and um, believe that you can actually do it. Um, but there are people in the world that made it. They were able to support themselves or even make big money doing what they're good at, what they love. They're using their talents, their creativity, and art. And um, I will tell you what I think is the main reason why they succeeded or why they didn't, and what is important to remember about. I think a person who wants to start their own creative business needs to do few things correctly in order for this to work. Okay, but what you need to know is um, every single one was questioning themselves and asking if they will be able to support themselves by the work. So, for example, when I was quitting my job, I had many limiting beliefs. One of them was that I'm not a business person and I'm not able to make the exact amount of money that I was making as a waiter. Okay, so as a waiter, I was making £1,200 per month. Okay, and when I was picturing myself making £1,200 with video work, I thought, no, this is impossible. I was like, no, not in the world. This is impossible. I cannot imagine myself doing 1,200 per month on video, like through video. No, I can't do it. I can't do it. It's just too tough. If I could only do that, I would be super happy, and I would be like, yeah, I could live, my life the way I want to and on my own terms and everything, right? So when you are not doing it, or when you are aspiring to do this, you are questioning yourself. And even if people are saying it's possible, you won't believe it until you actually touch this money. Okay, you won't believe it until you actually see it in your bank. You won't believe it that you're capable of doing that. No matter what people tell you, people can tell you that you should believe in yourself. You should, you know, you should believe in your work. Until that money hits your bank account or is in your hands, as in cash, for example, it's so hard to believe that you are capable of actually making it happen. Okay, even though, like, I don't know what you think about that, but what do you think about £1,200? Is that a lot of money or is it not a lot of money?
I mean, to me, I'd say it's a lot of money.
Okay, so funny facts. When I was starting out, I thought this is a lot of money, and to get £1,200 in a month, it's gonna be a lot of work. I'm gonna have to work like crazy, which I did actually, because at the very beginning, I was really selling myself short. I would under you know charge for my services. I would be scared to ask for something, and I would work for ridiculous amounts of money. I even called it prostituting myself, because I would work for a month 40 hours a week on set of different videos for a client, and I would get paid £150 a month for that for a few months. So imagine working 160 hours for £150. Okay, so you do the math and see how much per hour you're getting paid. So I could literally clean toilets or work as a dishwasher like I used to, and get paid more per hour. So I did that for some time, and at certain point, you start to realize that what you do is actually quite good. What your work is valuable, and you start valuing yourself more when people ask you how much you're charging for your services. And then also, some of the people who don't value you, they kind of use you, and they, because of the fact that you've been used in certain situation, you start to treat a little bit more seriously what you do. And as I said, you're then more likely to ask for more money. You're more likely to say no to clients that are not that beneficial for you.
Yeah.
And you really start to search for answers. What should I do to make more money and to get more clients and stuff like that? So this is a process. This is not only like psychological process. You have to kind of learn how to value yourself, your own work, and when you are an up and coming person, an aspiring person, you're dealing with your past and limiting beliefs. You might think you're now worthy of success, or you're now worthy of doing this kind of work for living.
Yeah.
So this is like a job within. You have to kind of learn how to work yourself out first, in order to actually then ask for the money. And I know a lot of creatives, from musicians to illustrators to graphic designer, to like other videographers, and every single one of them I talked to, they always had the same issues with undercharging, with negotiating their hourly rates or prices, or even taking money at all. So many would be working for free because they would be afraid to ask to get paid, because they didn't believe that what they do is valuable. Okay, so this is the first hurdle you have to kind of overcome in order to start making money from video or any other creative business. You have to get comfortable with the fact that you need to ask for it to get paid, so you don't do stuff for free. Yeah, when you work for a while and you realize that the money you're making is not enough, and it makes you kind of sick to your stomach, that there are people who would use you in that way, that you provide a service and you give everything to this kind of profession, and then people can use that, you learn how to raise your standards, say no, increase the price, and also you probably will invest in your time into learning about business and negotiations and pricing and marketing and advertising and sales. And once you get better in these, then your income will go up and you will get better quality jobs, and then you will gain more experience, which in return will give you bigger jobs, more clients, bigger quality. You will be able to afford more equipment, and everything will go, higher and higher. You will gain a momentum. So basically, that's where you want to get. It's like not go straight in and ask for a huge amount of money, because that's also not good. Like, one of the mistakes people do is just they think right off the bat they can ask for premium prices. And if you're inexperienced, if you're just starting, you shouldn't do that either. So, for example, if I was in my first year, when I was making lots of mistakes, if I was to ask premium prices, I would probably not have many clients either, because people would not consider that service a quality service.
Yeah.
And also I would feel like an impostor, because I would be charging something that I don't believe I should be charging, right? So you should charge more than what I did at the beginning, for example, but at the same time you cannot go to the other extreme and charge too much. Now, I will tell you what happens when you start actually getting paid what you should be getting paid, and you get the jobs that you should be doing. When you get to the point where you get, let's say, £1,200 for one project, and you finish this project in a few hours, you realize, like I did, that I could make the same amount of money in a few hours compared to a whole month of working as a waiter. And once you realize that this is possible, that you have this money in your hand, it changes everything. It changes how you see money, and it changes how you see your ability. And I'll give you a perfect example. And it wasn't £1,000 at the beginning. The first client that I actually generated on my own as a sales was just it was £500 project. Okay, a promo video, 1 minute promo video for £500, and it was one of the ones that I was like really truly proud of, because it was not a client that was just there to rip me off, like have the video for nothing.
Yeah.
So when I finally signed the contract with this person, and when they handed me the cash deposit for the project, I had money in my hands, and I kind of had this epiphany that said, this money didn't exist. It did, but obviously not in my world. It didn't exist before, and I made it happen. Okay, I created it because I provided this service that somebody wanted, somebody valued, and they gave me money for it. And once I learned that there are people there who are willing to pay you, to give you money for a service that you provide, and they value it, then that's changing everything. Because they don't care how many hours it took. They don't care how many hours you worked. They don't care how you worked, what your equipment. They don't care about any of that. They don't care what you think about yourself. They thought that what you provided was worth what they thought it is worth. So I stopped thinking about the money through my own perspective, my own wallet size. So if I had been broke, if my wallet is empty, doesn't mean that the wallet of a client is empty too. Okay? And if they value what you do, then they pay even more. And these days I take more money from a client. I still don't charge like any outrageous amounts, but I definitely can say that, you know, I can make money in few hours that I would be making, you know, a month or more before, when I was working at a job. And now I know it's possible, it's in my blood, but in the past I had no idea. I didn't believe it's possible at all. So when you learn that you can make £1,000 in a few hours, you also learn that it's not so hard to get it. It's not like in the past, if I was in debt, £200 or £50 or something like that, I thought, oh my God, how long I will have to work to get there, to pay that off, you know? I had a credit card and I had a fee to pay £50. And I thought, oh, I'm gonna have to work whatever 10 hours or more in my job to pay for that fee for the credit card. But now, since I've been working for myself, I realized that I could just work a little harder, get an extra project, and I'm gonna get it in a few hours. So that was a huge change in my mentality. Is there something that you wanted to ask about that?
I guess if I was to think of something, it would be, how long do you think it took for you to change your perspective?
In terms of months, it would be probably about 6 months of working. So the first 6 months were the toughest 6 months you can imagine.
Yeah.
I had quit my job with £500 in credit card, no savings, and the only thing that I had to use was my one camera, one computer, and one gimbal that was paid for by an investor, a guy who trusted me, and he put his own money for me, for like a share in my company, so I can start working. So he paid for my equipment, he trusted me, and basically it's a long time kind of friend slash client, and he trusted me, paid for that equipment, but I had no savings, and I had some credit card debt, and so I went into business, and I went into a situation where it's like do or die. If you don't make enough money, you're not gonna have money to eat. And I was actually tempted to do that many years ago, but I always kept the job because I was scared of that commitment, that if you fail, you're gonna pretty much starve. So you could consider keeping a job on the side a very smart move, but it's a completely different level of commitment if you have like a no choice. So once I quit the job, I had no choice. I had to figure it out, find the clients, and sometimes out of desperation take clients that would not appreciate the work, would pay barely any money, who would not even like bother to like ask if what I was providing is the correct value, because the ratio of what I was providing for the money what they were paying was crazy, like out of balance. I mean, it was crazy out of balance. So I think a lot of people who come from like a poorer background, they have this where they honestly don't believe what they're doing is valuable, so they are willing to work almost for free. And working for free is not super bad. Like, I'm not saying you shouldn't work for free, because sometimes it's the only way to put your foot somewhere into some projects. You know, it's okay if it's your choice. So if it's your choice and you choose to do something for free, and I did several times where I would be like, hey, I'm gonna do this video for you for free because I really like what you're doing, and I would like to be a part of whatever business that you do, and if you like it, or if it does good things for you, we can, you know, do more, and then actually do a paid one or something, you know. And you put your foot into the door, and sometimes it helps, you know, and gives you an opportunity to actually try something. But when there are clients who are asking you to do something for free, that's a different story.
Yeah.
I had actually several times been asked to, like, I went to a restaurant that I offered a service for you know, to produce a video, and the owner asked me if at the same time as I'm filming, I could be clearing tables and serve the tables in that restaurant. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I actually, that was one of the few times that I actually actually, that's a funny story. I not only I refused that, but I got properly angry, and I rarely get angry in front of like a client. But I mean, I got so angry because he mentioned that he hired a photographer to do photography for him, and he didn't pay the photographer either. And I'm like, so you hired a photographer before, how much did you pay him? And he was like, I didn't pay him. So I'm like, all right. So that was the first time when I just kind of went like this, and I say to him, listen, I come here from a recommendation through a friend. They said that you needed a video, so I just, you know, as a polite person, just wanted to come and see how I can help you to get clients through video marketing and stuff. And you know, I don't need that job because I have several clients that are paying me regularly, so I'm not desperate for work. And you're just like, you know, throwing something so offensive to me here, and I'm just not gonna do it. And yeah, the guy was shocked.
He's completely trying to take advantage of people.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And the guy was shocked because I was able to flip the script and tell him to tell me why would I work for him. Because this all started from the fact that he asked me why would we work with you? And you know, sometimes you do have to sell yourself and tell why would you want to work with someone, why they should choose you. But I was at that point where that guy was like, why would I choose to work with you? Despite the fact that he was not willing to pay. And I'm like, no, this is not how it's gonna go. And I just, that moment, my whole body changed, my face, I was like, you're not gonna fuck with me like that. And I just basically, told him what I think. And he immediately realized that this is not gonna go his way. And in the end, he didn't, like, I told him that I can do something for him, like a 15-second sample that I can show him what I can do, but I will have to see what happens. And then in the end, I didn't get back to him in the end, because I was like, I don't want to work with this person. But yeah, those kind of people, this is not an exception. They happen, okay? So at a certain point, I think that was somewhere like 6 months in, you're just like, no, I'm not gonna go that low. You're not gonna let people do this to you. And suddenly you kind of put your chin up, and then you start charging people more, and then you're saying no, and then you kind of get really serious about what you do, and that is not just, you know, art and fancy drawings or whatever you do creatively.
So would you say that
a
was
job.
like a turning point?
I would say that, yeah. I mean, there were more because I had a couple more stories that, this happened, something like this happened. But I think that one was very, like, I'm still laughing because I can remember vividly that part when I'm like, I was smiley, I was friendly, I was everything. And then suddenly the guy was like immediately I changed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm not going to let you do this to me. It was too much because I come from a restaurant industry, so I know that some restaurant owners can be that way, where they use people,
Yeah.
and I've been there. I've always been very feisty, so I never actually, allow this to happen. So going back to the person who's listening to this, if you happen to have a situation like this, you need to be able to take care of yourself, be assertive, and really say no, or step it up and be like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this seriously. I'm not gonna, let people to walk over me. And that's kind of my takeaway for that part, which is basically when people want to use you. In terms of the money part, when you actually start to, making decent living, the cool part is that it becomes like a tool that you can use. It stretches your time, so the more you make, the more time you have to actually work on projects or do something cool for your own private purpose, whatever you doing as a hobby or whatever. So it's a really cool thing to make extra money, or it gives you a lot of flexibility and freedom. It's not easy to make that kind of lifestyle work, but it's doable. And even a person coming from a poor background, a person that didn't believe that it's possible, can do it. And you can make 1,200 or you can make 5,000. As a matter of fact, one of my biggest months ever was 5,500. But I think it's possible to do more. I'm not greedy. I've got other things on my mind, and it's not always that you're able to make this kind of money. You can make as much as you want, really, to be honest with you. It's just how good you become in negotiation, how much value you can deliver, and what people like see you as. Like, I know, for example, it's really cool. Artist on TikTok, she does murals, like giant murals, and she started off, and she was telling about her journey, and she started off like charging £200 for small murals, or dollars, I don't remember now. And now, because she became quite famous on TikTok, people contact her, and she would start making a mural that is like massive mural on huge walls, and she would be charging $5, $6, $7,000 or pounds for a mural. And obviously it's going to take some time, it's going to take several hours, but let's say you spend a week on making that mural and you make $7,000 or pounds in a week for that mural, with zero expensive apart from maybe the paint, which will cost some, I don't know, a few hundred, maybe if it's that expensive. But in general, it's possible, and like, it's cool because you can see that whether it's the same person that can charge both 200 and 2,000 or 20,000. It's just a matter of how much are you willing to work to get there, learn about business, learn about negotiating, being assertive, overcoming your own limiting beliefs. It is a very complex, nuanced topic. So I think this is only like maybe the first time we touch this. I think we'll talk about this kind of stuff more often.
Yeah.
And if you have more questions, hit us up. We'll address these issues. but I think it will come back, this topic. It's probably one of the most commonly discussed topic amongst creatives, because the money is important, and a lot of people are now willing to admit that, you know, money is important to them. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm gonna leave it at. Do you want to add anything else to that?
On top of that,
Yeah.
I guess one of the things I've sort of picked up listening to that is that selling yourself seems to almost be just as important as selling your work.
Yes.
Like the woman on TikTok you mentioned, her
Mhm.
work hadn't necessarily changed, but she had sort of realized her own value
Yes.
and realized that I'm worth a hell of a lot more than $200.
Yeah, but I'll tell you why this works. I watched a lot of, read, and studied a lot of sales and business content over the years, and what I discovered is, in sales, and I worked in sales too, back in Poland, and what I discovered is people don't like buy stuff from people who don't believe in the stuff they are selling. So if you don't believe in yourself, whilst you're selling yourself, then people will not believe in you. So you need to kind of overcome everything, like your insecurities and limiting beliefs, and believe in yourself, so the customer who you're selling yourself to will believe in you.
Yeah, like why would I want to buy something if you look afraid to sell me it?
Yes, exactly. So you have to be 100% sold on yourself. And if you are, then you're convincing, then you are really congruent, and people will be like, you know, they'll be really happy to buy from you if they can afford it. And from the technicalities, in terms of the technicalities about sales and business, I would definitely share stuff that I learned over the years. But right now, I'm just mainly talking about the psychological, um, you know, point of view about this, um, because I think that's the one that is kind of most commonly problematic for people. It's like, believe in yourself and make, you know, more than what you think you could, because people don't value your work, or you don't value yourself, you know. So to encourage everyone, I would just say, you can, you just need to try, and you would be surprised how much money people would be willing to pay you, and how quickly you can improve the quality of your life. So get back to me when you do that. Hopefully you're going to stay with us to also hear about the practical tips on selling yourself or promoting your work. But yeah, that's kind of all for today. I hope you're enjoying our little series, and I hope we can see you in the next one. Take care.